Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda, and this is the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast.
This podcast is all about taking action and creating that badass business abundance and life that you want.
Where we share stories, laughs, wins, and epic fails to show you the whole picture of the entrepreneurial journey.
It's not just unicorns and rainbows, people.
Jump on and follow us through this raw and witty roller coaster,
where we get down and dirty and go behind the scenes of life and entrepreneurship.
Get on it,
get over it,
and get after it.
Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast. We are back again, the dynamic duo, to talk about the hustle culture. The hustle.
Oh my gosh. Amanda and I want to yank out our hair, bang our heads against the wall. I don't know where it took a turn that the hustle culture, the word hustle, has gotten such a bad rap. It drives me insane. However, I do have some of my suspicions, but we're not going to throw shade at certain generations.
I mean, speak for yourself, Lynn. No, I'm kidding.
No,
maybe I'm not. I don't know. The point I like to think about so Lynn and I talk about a lot about how that we believe in the hustle, that we have side hustles, that we've hustled to get where we are, that we believe in that grind and that grit and that perseverance. And I think that is what I consider hustle to be. I think it is overcoming obstacles. It's getting out of your own way. It's letting go of all of these societal things that tell us that we can't succeed and doing it anyway. And whatever that might be, I mean, whether you're coming from adversity or just your own personal mind trap, whatever that may be, I think the hustle in its truest form is overcoming all of that and kicking butt and taking names anyway. And I hate that now it is associated, and maybe I'm wrong in this association, but the way I see it perceived now is that if you're hustling, that there's something wrong, that you shouldn't have to hustle to live your best life, and that you need to slow down. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't slow down and enjoy life. It's just, why is that synonymous with, or why is it the opposite of hustling? Why is hustling become some bastardized term that refers to you don't have your shit together and that you are not doing what you need to do and that you're not living your best life because you have to hustle to get there? Why is that?
Yeah. This could be hours. This will probably be another podcast topic as well.
We're going to get feisty.
Oh, absolutely. And I know that, us being Gen X, right? We grew up in a different era. We grew up with
at this point, I don't know what X am I? X, Y, Z. I don't know. There's so many different.
I think we're Gen X.
I'm old.
Or we're right. Yeah. Anyway, we kind of grew up.
We're the greatest generation.
We are. But we grew up where we had to be scrappy, and some of us more than others, depending on the environment that we were in. And okay, so let me back up. First of all, Amanda and I do not agree with this whole movement of hustle culture is bad, etc. If you didn't get that point. Second of all, the definition of what they're calling hustle is completely inaccurate. And because you can work smarter, not harder, and still hustle. Hustle is about not stopping. It is about doing what you need to do in order to get where you need to get. And back in the day, that meant, hopefully nothing illegal, but that meant rolling up your sleeves and making stuff happen. Obviously, the Pursuit of Badasserie, our title represents that. We have seen some shit. We have had to pull and be creative with our time. We've had to put ourselves out there differently. We really had to do what we need to do in order to get where we have gotten, because nobody was going to do it for us. And especially now, because, obviously we have everybody's on social media, and I hate using words like everybody, anyone, but pretty much everybody is on social media nowadays. So you hear all these get rich schemes and oh, I did this overnight and I'm only working 2 hours a day. Bullshit. You did things prior to that in order to get there. unless you are lucky or a 1%er. You have to put in the work. Can you put it in smarter? Absolutely. Can you be more efficient? Absolutely. But it is about being brave. Like you said, it's about being agile and resilient. It's about making the connections that you need to make. It's about taking what you need. And I think that that is one thing that one place where I have misstepped is I've always been such a giver, and I haven't always, and Amanda and I were just having this conversation, I don't know, a week ago or so, about like, we don't always take what we need. Especially I tend to like, oh no, like in Hawaii, this big, like we a lot of people do trade, right? They'll trade services. And I was always the one who is like over giving and under receiving, right? We've had this conversation.
I just did that the other day.
Oh, I still find myself I'm like, damn, I knew better. But it is like really putting in the work to get what you need. It's about that grind, and it's about the commitment to the bigger picture and not just a superficial or a temporary picture, I think. And it is, to me, the hustle culture in the right way, in the light way. And I believe that there's light and dark to everything, and that's more my woo-woo side. But I believe that hustle energy, that true essence, is truly the core essence of entrepreneurship, in my opinion, because they are doing what they need to do in order to make that happen. As a true entrepreneur, you are making shit happen. You are going against the flock. You are putting yourself out there. You are making connections. You are trying to carry yourself with confidence. You are rolling up your sleeves and getting your hands dirty. Hopefully not in an illegal way, but we're not to judge. But it's all of that and above. I could go on and on. Just tell me to stop, Amanda.
No, I'm not going to tell you to stop, because I 100% agree that part of, and I'm glad that you said that that's the essence of what an entrepreneur is, because I've had this conversation recently about taking risks and trusting the process and just diving into something because you can make it work, even if you don't necessarily know how you're going to make it work or how long it's going to take. It is about the big picture. And I guess I've been an entrepreneur for 20 plus years. And when I look back on those 20 years, I did play it a little bit safe. If I'm honest with myself, there are things where I played small, but I definitely, from the perspective of the quote unquote normal person, I did not play it safe. I made huge risks. I spent huge amounts of dollars and time and energy and efforts and manpower, mine and somebody else's and other people's, I should say, multiple people, to realize this big picture. And it did take the grind. Like, you have to hustle to get there. And sometimes it worked out and sometimes it did not at all. And I fell flat on my face, but that is part of entrepreneurship. And if I had never hustled and never tried to get there and never tried to overcome all the things that came up, because inevitably something will come up, then where would I be today? I can't even imagine how much further behind I would be now if I hadn't made those steps and taken that risk and been striving for that big picture and hustling, even on the days where, and I'm thinking of a couple of people I know right now who are like, oh, well, I just want to like work a couple hours a week and get, $5 or $6 grand a week. And I'm like, that's great. And you're going to have to work now if you want that to be a goal for later, because it can't be an instantaneous, like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to put this one thing in effect, and then I'm going to make, $10,000 off affiliate marketing tomorrow. It's not going to happen. It isn't. Even if you did, you wouldn't get the payout for 90 days. Like, there's systems in place, there's things that happen. And I think that being an entrepreneur means you're taking those risks. You're seeing the bigger picture. You're seeing the potential and the opportunity. And we talked about this in a previous podcast about like seizing that opportunity and really jumping on those opportunities. And I think that's part of what the hustle is. I think that's what it is at its core, is to see the opportunity, to see the big picture, to see that potential, and go for it and not let anybody else stop you. And, even you, like, I think that's one of the biggest ones, you let yourself stop yourself. And that's probably the biggest one. But the hustle is just, and I think to me, it's ingrained in me. Like, I don't know how not to hustle. So people tell me, like, slow down. It shouldn't be about the hustle. I'm like, it's always about the hustle. It's always about building something better and being more than I am, not because I'm not happy with where I am and who I am, but because I know I can be more and do more and help more people and reach out more. And I think, again, the hustle there is not that I want to be complacent in life. I don't want to just be where I am, even though where I am is great. I don't want to be just there. There's always more. Like, don't you just feel like you can be more? That to me is the hustle, feeling that, wanting to be more, knowing you can be more, and then going after it, truly going after it.
Absolutely. Two things. And then I want to kind of go of like, because I do want to address like the idea of hustle, but two things that you said in there, one thing that you said in there reminds me of two other aspects of, to me, what true hustle is. If I had to like name attributes to it, is the no excuses, only solutions, which used to be my favorite tagline. I still use it. No excuses, only solutions. So like solution oriented and really like not like sitting in the pity, but also that mental toughness to say, okay, like the old, what was that old? I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say, bounces off of me and sticks to you type of mentality. Like, hello, let's bring back that like childhood, like playground shit. At the end of the day, it is about picking yourself up and being creative about it. So let's talk a little bit about what, like, I feel like these individuals who are saying hustle so bad. First of all, hustle doesn't mean you have to burn things at both ends. Do some of us? Absolutely. Absolutely. Hustle also doesn't mean that you have to like that you're always moving forward and not getting any, or like doing something and not getting anywhere, right? So to me, they are kind of two different things. That's not true. So you don't have to work all hours of the day, and it's about being creative, in my opinion. And I'll never forget, and I know, Amanda, we've had many conversations and probably said this on one of the podcasts before, but like, even when I was like pretty much raising my 3 teenage kids by myself, I was PTA president or active in their school, running 3 businesses. Like, I was still the one that would be home for the kids. I was the one who was there still making dinner. I was the one. And then maybe I worked at night. Like, it's about being creative. Like, we get into entrepreneurship not to work 8 to 5s, but there are times, and I know we've spoke about this in our podcast, where, whatever season you're in your business, if you're in sustain, if you're in scale, if you're in sell mode, like, there's different activities that happen. And so some days, some weeks, some months, you might be like putting in grind. Like right now, I'm finishing a book. I'm like paragraphs away from finishing this book. And like, I'm not going out and seeing other people. I'm not doing this. And people like obviously put me on a pedestal that I get so much done, that I do all this. And yeah, I do. That's because I put in the work. However, I am really good at I'm smart about my time and my resources. Right. And so I think that that's another thing that people are like people don't understand. The hustle can be about working smarter, not harder. It doesn't have to be about this just BS. And can we please stop that it does not take work and action to get results? It absolutely does, unless you are one of the 1%ers who happen to fall into that. And God bless you if you are. Like, congratulations. But the majority of us have to put in work. We have to do the actions. And even when we have a shit ton of money to invest into things, like, that can put us further up the spiral or the race. However, like, most of us don't, or we don't know where to invest, or whatever that is, especially in the entrepreneur world. So, man, and I feel like those that don't have the hustle spirit or that mentality are actually losing out on that scrappiness. That, like, when all else fails, like, what am I going to do? That creative scrappiness to just like knowing that you got to like pull, you know, like a lot of famous songs, rap songs were like, my mama could create anything with just a bag of rice and a ketchup bottle type of thing, like that type of thing. And you're laughing, but we've both been there, like where we have had to like roll up our sleeves and get really creative and really brave and really scrappy and do what we need to do in order to get somewhere. And especially like I was at with kids, like there were times as a single mom before I met my ex-husband, like I had to do things in order to make sure my kids had a roof over their head. Like, and I think a lot of people like just like, I don't know, they negate that energy because they think it's like about just like doing a million things all the time. No, that's not hustle culture. I'm sorry. Having 50 damn businesses is not hustle culture. It's an energy. It's an essence. It's a presence. It's an attitude. It's an action. It is not about doing 50 million things.
100%. And I feel like I get accused of that sometimes because I do have multiple businesses. And it's like, oh, like you must have to hustle all the time. I'm like, well, yeah, but not in a bad way. I mean, I do hustle. And that's because if you want to break it down, and I'm not, again, I don't want to like toot the horn, but I'm going to. I have multiple businesses. I am a solo parent. I don't do work when my child is awake. So for an outside perspective, you're going to see me at like 10 a.m. on a Monday morning at the zoo. And then like, you'll see me at the museum the next day at 2 o'clock. And then maybe I'll drive to an alligator farm the next day. And these are literally things that are happening.
It's true. It's absolutely true, people.
These are real things. That's really happening this week. So from an outside perspective, I'm just like, I must have money from something, like I must have a trophy wife scenario or, you know, trust fund baby. Like, no, it's hustle. I do that so that I can homeschool my kid, be with him present, what feels like 27 hours of the day. So present with him. And then I do the hustle after work so that I can make that work. And so even with multiple businesses, even different states, time zones, you just make it work. And that's what hustle is in the positive side. It's working smarter. It's making your life making your work fit your life, not your life fit your work.
Yes.
I think that's so underrated because a lot of people get stuck in this 9-to-5 world, and there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, I need people to be employees because that's how I get stuff done. I need you to be employees. I'm not shitting on employment. However, for some people, it just isn't going to work with what you want out of life. And so you have to seek these alternative things, and you're going to need to hustle in order to make it work. And again, if you're the 1%er, praise to you. I've never been that 1% that didn't have to work, because I've always believed the only place where success comes before work is the dictionary. In my world of entrepreneurship, there have been shitstorms. I mean, you can't not have a business and not realize that things aren't going to go the way you want all the time. And as a control freak or recovering control freak, I don't even know if I'm recovering. I'm just in there.
You're at least in the acceptance.
Things aren't going to go your way. Yeah, I'm in the acceptance mode. Things aren't going to go your way, and you have to pivot or you're going to crash and burn. And I refuse to crash and burn. And so I feel like that's what hustle is. It's the pivot. It's the shift. It's the seeing the big picture. It's making those shifts and not wallowing in where you are. I mean, if you sit there too long, you're going to think that that's where you belong, and you just don't. And you have to rise above it. And sometimes that rising above is going to take more than just wishing it. You've got to actually work for it. And you know, even if it's fake it till you make it. And we talk about this, like not everybody believes that fake it till you make it is a thing. And you and I do. And we wrote about it in our first book. It's a real thing.
It's helped me survive my life at times.
It's how I've gotten as far as I have, for sure. I feel like there are definitely days I fake it. Any social interaction, I'm faking it first and then I make it, for sure. It's true.
Yeah. You know, a couple of things, and then I know we already have to wrap up, is that you kind of touched on, but I want to give a different aspect to it, is like, we haven't come out and said it, but also like the work ethic and the values of hard work are also aligned with hustle. And I'm saying this I'm not throwing shade. I just know, I mean, I have 20-year-old kids. So, however, I've raised them slightly different. However, I know that they have a different concept of what work is and the way work is. And, especially in the US, I mean, it is happening in other countries, but more in the US, which I love my country, but God damn, sometimes I want to just strangle some people. But there's that lack of that disconnect of what values and hard work is. I was actually having a conversation with a friend not too long ago, and he's from we'll say the Middle East, but he is American passport. And we were talking about how he met this person from like Missouri or Kansas or something. He's like, oh man, it was just like, just the most honest individual. And like, there's just something about them. I was like, yeah, their work ethic, like their handshake is their word. And like, there's these core values of like, really like getting up every day and doing what you need to do. And at the end of the day, like, if you look at those who have pioneered for us, even before Amanda and I know we have paved paths for others after us, but they have put in that work. They have hustled to make things happen. They have been creative. They have had the balance, even when they didn't know they had the balance. Like when they were aware, some maybe didn't, and it took a toll on them. But Amanda and I are aware of like having some harmony in our life. They had the mental toughness. They had that work ethic. They had that like, I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to learn along the way. I'm going to connect with who I need to connect with, and I'm going to do it with purpose and drive and hustle. And they have paved the path for us to be able to have what we have today. So do not disgrace the people who have come before you that have absolutely pioneered for you to have the opportunity, especially us ladies out there. I'm watching a new series on Netflix, The First Ladies of Hip Hop, and it's just like, because that's the era I grew up in. And it is like, it was so amazing to watch. And they actually spoke about like the hustle, and I'll go back and watch it again, because like there were so many nuggets in there to say, listen, like there were people who had to come before us in order to make room at the table for us, or even build the table for us. And so for the generations that are coming after us, it is up to you to continue to move and bring more people to that table, make that table bigger. And you're not going to get it by not having some kind of hustle, and from the light side, not the dark side, because otherwise it's just like, to me, these like overnight successes. There's no structure, there's no fundamentals, there's no agility, there's no toughness, there's no strength to actually move forward from.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Oh my gosh.
Shout it. Preach it.
Yeah. I feel like this might've been taking you to church today, taking you to church.
We could talk about this for a while. We probably will.
Well, we will come back on this topic, but we'd love to know what you think about the hustle culture, and like really like when you think about it and actually look at it from a different point of view, and understand that, all these different points that we said and more, there's so much more to this that Amanda and I can preach on. But like, what's your take on it? And what word have you replaced hustle with? Because that action is needed. That scrappiness is needed. That movement is needed in order for you to get where you need to get in the way that you need to get it. However, you can be smart about it. You can actually build fundamentals and foundations. That way you're not burning at both ends. So we'd love to hear about that.
Or devil's advocate, if you believe that the hustle culture is negative and that it is a detriment, I would love to hear your argument, because I'm looking for your side. So if you believe that we are wrong, let's hear it. Like, let's debate. Let's talk about it, because I would love to talk to somebody.
Podcast.
Oh man, I would love it. I would love it so much. So if you believe that the hustle culture is toxic, I want to hear why. And let's talk about that, because I would love to dissect your viewpoints on the hustle culture.
Absolutely. We love our audience. Thank you. Share this podcast with whoever you think needs to hear about the hustle culture and maybe has an opinion of their own. We'd love to hear it. Till next time.
Get after it.
All right, everyone. It's not enough to just listen.
Now you've got to put it into action.
We are so excited to see what you do next.
If you enjoyed our show, please leave us a review on iTunes.
And to find out more about what we're doing, visit us at thepursuitofbadasserie.com.